Alright, so welcome back to another driveway. We are here to show off some pieces for the winter project, and unfortunately, with the way everything goes, when one person has something thought in their mind, somebody else has the same thought. So, you'll see that in a moment. I just want to talk a little bit here. We slowed down the video rate here. It's nothing real huge. It's just a way to save up a little more money to get onto other projects. Since I'm not a huge channel, I don't have thousands upon thousands of dollars rolling in, so I gotta take my time and use it where I can. So anyways, we should be getting back onto a relatively more regular schedule here, and we'll show you this part of the project, and then maybe next time we can get some of the crossfire knocked out of the way and get moving on to some other projects again. So let's just go take a quick look at what I have over here. Alright, so if you can see it, maybe you can, maybe you can't, but we got ourselves an outboard motor. We got an outboard. This is something approximately from the 60s or so. It's a Johnson, and this is like a 40 horsepower unit. So, if you haven't figured out, we are going to be building a boat here on the channel. So of course I've been laying the groundwork for this for quite some time, and then pop onto the YouTube there and see that old Cletus is going to build a boat as well, but his is going to be like 10 times more expensive than what we're building, and we'll probably have just as much fun. So essentially what we are going to do is try to see if we can get this thing fired up and running, and hopefully we'll be in a good spot. Now unfortunately, the problem with buying outboards and stuff is 9 times out of 10 the person that's selling it has no idea how to make it run, so you have to somewhat buy it on their word that they ran on a boat. That's not exactly ideal, but as long as you get the price point to a decent spot where you feel comfortable, or at least have a common basic knowledge of how these things work, you might have a slightly better chance of seeing it all happen. So anyways, we're gonna start tearing into this thing and seeing what we can figure out with this thing. Alright, so according to the guy I bought it from, he bought it from another guy that had it running in a bucket. So it's hard to take anyone on their word. So essentially, I just went and pulled some spark plug here. You can see that they're relatively recent NGK. Like there's a tiny bit of corrosion on it, so you know that it's been in there for a couple of years. And then I pretty much just looked at the old plug to see that there are some cook marks on it. So that means it did actually run at some point in time, about as long ago as these spark plugs. So, as far as boat motors go, that means this thing could have run maybe 5 years ago, and then most likely nobody drove it since then. So that's how I was able to determine that the guy was close to telling the truth, so figure that's just good enough. Alright, had to close the door there. Unfortunately, I can't even do work in my own garage without the stupid neighbor dog barking. Alright. So anyways, let's talk a little bit about the project. I'm planning on building a relatively small wooden boat. There's a lot of plans and everything out on the internet. The one I'm looking at is from like Glenelg. So if you're interested in some of those, you can take a quick peek there. But it's probably going to be barely 12 foot long. And the plans actually call for a maximum of a 10 horse motor. So, you know how we do it? We put a 40. Kind of like how a Crossfire calls for a 220 horsepower engine. And we put something that's capable of 700. So anyways, I'll probably have to modify the plans a touch because this guy is heavier than I want it to be. It's about, as you see it here, it's about 150 pounds, but its big brain bucket here adds like an extra 10 pounds onto it. So my thought process is actually maybe we can rig up some sort of fiberglass, carbon fiber, some sort of hood or something to put on top of this. It's not going to look with the classic look on there, but I'm thinking the direction I'm going to go on the boat itself, it's probably not going to lend itself to the 60s era look. I think we're going to get the entire boat slightly more modernized look and see where we can go from there. But anyways, next step is essentially we just familiarize ourselves with the motor. So we've got over here an electric start. So of course that probably adds 5-10 pounds. And then we have the generator, which is kind of like the alternator. But the question I have is, I think the generator head might be broken. Because I think the generator is supposed to stick up here, and there's supposed to be a belt that comes off the flywheel. So it looks like somebody might have dumped it on his head. Lastly, nothing else. So let's just take a quick peek at what we got in here. Alright, so yeah, this little generator screw bar. So that's a broken part. Oh, that's pretty good heft to it. At least on the upside then, we're able to get in to all the good stuff. Throttle control. Got our electric choke. Fuel pump over here. essentially we're not looking too terrible. Got like a couple big giant globs of grease in here. Alright, so I'm relatively confident that this steering bearing here did not call for 3 pounds of grease. We've got another big giant glob of grease for the throttle linkage. That's getting to be a little much here, boys. All right. Well, that's at least something in the general direction. Fuel hose feels pretty stiff. Not like we really have that fitting there anyways. So let's see if we can get this guy off of here. Man, it's like these guys really need to learn spray lithium grease is a lot better than this slime that they're jamming in there. But now, I guess I want to see is that the exhaust? So now we got a place we can put a little bit of fuel. We'll mix up some gas so we got a little something to see if we can fire it up. So, see if we can blow all the loose crap out. Oops. There goes a couple washers for the generator. Then we may as well just blast her down with some WD. Get her a good WD wash down. Don't exactly know what they're worried about. Looks like they greased a motor mount. So, I guess now we need to probably look into our electronics and see what other mess we have going on. Alright, added some more lead with the Porter lights. So, here is our crusty electronic box. So we got our big voltage regulator there. We've got a old solenoid. And then that all comes down to a couple cables. So we've got battery power here. All these cables are going to have to be replaced. And then that comes over out here. This is our control. Since this is an electronic shifting, we've got two solenoids, blue one and the green one. One's going to make it go forward, one's going to make it go backwards. This style, there's a lot of people that don't like them, mainly because of that electronic thing. But the way I see it, if something's wonky enough that I have to do something with the solenoids, I'm guessing an item like this from the 60s shouldn't be that difficult to open up the solenoid and rewrap and essentially refurbish it. So that'd probably be like $5 worth of stuff, and most people charge an arm and a leg for these solenoids. So anyways, then that brings us down to our control, which of course, this has your standard ignition. This is like a choke, I believe. So we'll have to probably hotwire the ignition a little bit. Because it's like these old style, you don't need any power to run it. You just need ground to turn it off. So that's essentially what these two are, the ground. We got the main power, and then the power runs the electronic thing there, the electronic over here, any lights you might have. So we'll look into that. And then we have our throttle box, which I pulled off because I need to get a little bit of some oiling going on in the cable. But it's pretty much just a simple switch where you rotate this guy. So there's a switch down here, that's neutral, that's one direction, that's the other direction. Real simple. Nothing terrible. Let's grab the hose and blow that out. Grab the other end of our cable here. I'm probably losing some of my screws, but anyways, we just got simple cable here. See if we can blast a little lube down there. Alright, so I got the control torn apart, lubed up, and it essentially works. There's just like a really tight spot. That's pretty much the linkage inside of the motor. So you ease it up, and then that's wide open. Because it looks like half of the throttle is controlled with a timing advance. Because up under here where all your timing pieces, your breaker points, and all that junk, when you hit the throttle, it rotates the whole hub until it gets maximum advance. And then as you go further, it just dumps open the carb. So, I think we're almost to the point that we can try to find our meter and some power, start seeing what in this electronic part works and doesn't. We won't have the generator piece, so it should just be hot wire and tally-ho. Alright, so we got a bucket of water here. We can try to test this thing out, see if it actually does anything. And I'm thinking, since we got that broken generator over there, I think we just ditch the whole generator and just put a solar panel on it. That little generator only did maximum of 10 amps anyways. So I think we can get more juice out of a solar panel, because I don't necessarily plan on cruising around at night anyways. That, and with as little power as this thing uses, a big size battery would last forever. So we're about to the point to see if we can get it to fire. I think we got fuel. Kind of just stuck it in a fuel can with some premix, and I guess we're just gonna see if she goes. All right. I think I need a strap to hold it in place. It's got a little bit of backfire going on with it, but nothing a little tune-up probably wouldn't cure. Probably should, before we try to actually run it, redo some points and everything up top. Make sure the wires are good. Other than that, we also should probably build ourselves a proper stand we can put this thing on. That way it's not jumping and kicking around like it is right now. All right, well. Which part of the link? Gear shift solenoid works. We're in business. Alright, got that kickstand back up. But anyways, I think we have a pretty good base with this big old machine here. There's obviously going to be some sprucing up that needs to be done, but all in all, it seems pretty solid. We got front drive, we got reverse drive, we got motor running. I just need to spend a little more time and get everything kind of tuned in and dialed in, and we will be good to go. We'll have to take a look at the points in there and see what they're looking like. But all in all, that should probably work out pretty well. So anyways, that's our base. We'll get started on that probably closer to winter. That way we got something to do. And the entire concept is, it would be ideal, would really be ideal if I got that boat working and I could tow it with this forgotten project over here. So at some point in time we'll have to start tackling some of these. We'll probably have to wheel this forward a little bit to make room, because I think I'm going to build the boat right behind it. So I'm going to have to get some lights in here to light it up a little better. And all around just clean up this whole disaster. Because everything was just kind of dumped here from the Crossfire project. We got wire looms and just everything dumped everywhere. So I'm hoping I can take down this rack of boards over here on the wall. If I can take that down, get that all consolidated, we'll be sitting a lot better. Or maybe if I have a couple racks of wood stacked up, maybe it's closer up to the ceiling where I have to get a ladder to get it. That way it's up and out of the way. So different things I'll be thinking about here. Like that'll probably be the easiest. Throw a couple boards up there, nail it to the wall, and hang a chain from the rafters every so few, and have a high up shelf. So that's at least the idea. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. We'll have to make sure we get the Crossfire fired away. I'll have to make a mount, probably maybe on a furniture dolly. That way I can mount it up there, have it sitting and leaning there, and I can wheel it into whatever corner I feel like shoving it. So that way it's out of the way. But I guess this is where we need to take off. Thanks again for watching. And if you're into boats, cars, house fixing, make sure to subscribe, because we do all of that around here. Although we do focus a lot on vehicles and things with motors. But anyways, we will haul on out of here and have to see you sometime later.